In this video, we'll talk about the class activity of how to create a Choropleth map of farm area as a proportional total area for all counties in the conterminous United States. So if you haven't already, go ahead and open up QGIS, and if you haven't already, start a new project there. And when you start a new project, we're going to add the data that you've downloaded from Blackboard for this lesson. So one way to map there, wherever you've downloaded it to, it's on my flash or thumb drive. I'm just going to go there. I'm going to add that as a connection. And then it shows me all of the data I have under there. And when I unzipped it, it was called counties. And we can see I can now see my US counties right here in QGIS, and then I can just drag it in. I could also add it as a shapefile, but I'm just going to go ahead and drag this in. And this shows a map of all my US counties. I'm going to go ahead and zoom to that layer, maybe make it a little bigger. And I'm going to change the background color just so it stands out a little more. I'm going to go under Project, and then Properties. And then under the General tab here, we can change the background color. I'm just going to put it on as a medium gray. There we go. Okay, so I want to use something in the attribute table, and we can take a look at what's in the attribute table here. I want to use one of these values in order to talk about how many total acres of farming there is with respect to the acres of each county. So I can see that we have the farm acres here, and I'll start by mapping the farm acres, but there is a problem with that because we have to normalize it to the county acres, or else bigger counties would often show up as darker colors. So I'm just going to close that for now. I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to go under the properties, which is where we set the symbology. And I'm going to go under the symbology here. And currently it's set for a single symbol, which is why every single county in the lower 48 is colored in the same way. But I'm going to go under here, and I'm going to do graduated. And I'm going to base this on that. I'm just going to start out with that column we had of county area here. So, or county acres. So here's, I'm sorry, farm acres. So here are the farm acres here. I'm going to use the farm acres. For my symbol, I'm going to change the color, but right now I just want to change the outline from a fairly thick line. I'm going to make it thinner, 0.1 instead of 0.26, and I'm going to make it a lighter shade of gray, maybe something like that. Okay, say okay there. For the color, I would like to use a different color ramp. I'm going to use green so that where there's more farm area, it'll be a darker green. And we have different ones here. You can pick any of these. I'm going to use quantiles, which will be a statistical way of dividing up the areas. You can use natural breaks. You can use any of these. I'll actually use natural breaks. I think that might be a little better. And we can set the number of classes too. If I don't like 5, I can go up to 6 or 7. Okay, so now I'm going ahead and applying that. And now I see the counties colored by how much farm area is within each of those counties. One of the issues here, however, is the biggest counties, as we can clearly see, are much more likely to be a darker green because those larger counties have more acres to begin with, and so they have more of a chance that they'll have some farm acres in them. We don't want that. We want to see what the density of farm area is per unit acre for the county. So we have to normalize our data if we're going to see that. So I'm going to right click on US counties, go under properties again. And this time I'm going to open up, instead of, we're currently selecting farm acres, I'm just going to put in a little code there. I'm going to say we still want farm acres, but then we want it divided by the county, and I'm just going to type this in, and the county acres shows up there. So we want the farm area divided by the county acres. You can see before I put that in, it was showing the expressions not valid. Once I put in a valid phrase, then it is valid, and I can say okay there. And then I want to classify it once again. I'm going to go down to oops, going up instead. I'm going to go down to 5. Type that in. I'm going to say apply. or classify, reclassify it, apply it to my map, and say OK. And now we can see that we get a much different pattern to the map. We're starting to see now where the most farms actually are per unit area in the county, and it's not just driven by how big the counties are. So once again, whenever you're making a Choropleth map, you have to normalize it or divide it through some total. That might be the total area within the county. It might be the total population. If you're looking at population density, it could be any of those things, but you have to do all that. And then now I'm going to put this map on a layout. So we're going to go to Project, New Print Layout, and then I'm going to call this Final Map. Say OK, and then it enters a. It brings us into this view here, and we can see that our menus up here have also changed. So now we have this Layout one, the Edit one, the View one, the Items, the Add Items, and the Atlas. So we're going to go under Add Items, and I'm going to add my map. I'm just going to draw a box here to show where my map is. And then it's going to bring in our map that we've already created into the layout. And then the other items, or items you might want to add is you might want to add a legend. Put it down here. Those are the US counties. You might want to add a scale bar here. And you might want to add a title. And here we would change it over here. We'll call it farm acres or farm area by county. And I'm going to change the font to be much larger. That's a bit big, so I'm going to bump that back down. And then you'll complete your layout in this way. Once you've got it all laid out, you can either export it as an image or you can export it as a PDF, and that's what you'll upload to Blackboard as your final product.